Hi, welcome to County Connection. My name is Julie Sutor, and today we're here to talk about all of the ways that Summit County government supports its littlest citizens, talking about a lot of programs that Summit County offers to support early childhood. So first up, we're going to be talking about the Nurse-Family Partnership at Summit County, and with me is the manager of the Nurse-Family Partnership, Lynn Easterly. Welcome,
Hi.
Lynn.
Glad to be here.
So Lynn, can you give us an overview of the Nurse-Family Partnership and how it supports early childhood?
Nurse-Family Partnership is attached to Summit County Public Health.
Okay.
We're a small program with them. We support first-time pregnant moms and who qualify for the income, low-income moms. We're looking at moms income only. So first-time pregnant moms, it's a voluntary program, and it's a free program, where you have your very own nurse come into your house or wherever you'd like to meet them during your pregnancy and for 2 years after that.
Okay, great. So for moms during their first pregnancy, and then they have a relationship with the nurse that lasts all the way through to their child's second birthday. 2.5
years, if that's what they want.
Okay, great. So what are the goals of the program?
We have 3 goals. One of which is to try to support the mom to have the healthiest baby, healthiest pregnancy possible. And encourage them to continue going to their prenatal visits with their doctors, talking to them about diet, which they can, what diet and a good weight gain during their pregnancy. The second goal is to encourage growth and development of the baby. How do we help the baby's brain grow not only in utero, but after the baby is born? And then the third goal is to support mom to follow her heart's desire. What did she want to be when she was a young child? A doctor or a nurse, and now pregnant, possibly didn't get a high school degree or even just 1 year of college. How do you get back into that so that you can reach your dreams and your goals?
Great. So this partnership and the nurses who are there with folks, they're really looking at the success of the whole family, so baby as well as mom.
Yes, and dads. We support dads too, so we like to have dads.
Great. So can you, so the nurse comes in and does visits with the mother, with the pregnant mother, and then after the baby. So can you talk about what those visits would look like for a pregnant mom?
So if we came in generally during the pregnancy, we will talk to the mom first about what mom wants to talk about. This is a client-led program, so her desires, what she wants to learn about, what she wants to do are most important. So we first follow her lead, talk about what she wants to talk about. As I said, we'll include some diet, some education about good food and good lifestyle changes, maybe a little exercise. If your doctor approves of it, often helps during pregnancy quite a bit too. And so during pregnancy, we'll also talk about a little bit of growth and development during pregnancy. We do that also during infant and toddler, but growth and development, how to connect with your baby. We've learned that babies can...
Even before the baby arrives.
Even before the baby's born. We've learned that babies can start to hear about 17 weeks, and they hear really well at 26 weeks.
Okay.
So we talk about reading a book. You could read the same book to your baby every day, or you could sing the same song to your baby every day while it's in your tummy. Afterwards, after the baby comes out, the baby could be crying, and you might repeat that song or read that book, and the baby will remember and calm down.
Cool.
There's actually studies that show that.
Oh,
so that's
cool.
neat. We can have dads involved during the pregnancy because the baby could kick, and then you could gently press where the baby kicked, and the baby will kick again, and then you could gently press again, and the baby will kick again. That's called tag, and you're already playing with your baby before the baby is even born.
Great. So then once the baby is born, what kinds of interactions are happening with the nurse at that point?
We start out, for the first 6 weeks after the baby's born, we come once a week to provide the mom with extra support, because it's kind of a crazy time having a new baby, both mom and dad.
Sure.
If you've got a lot of support, then we'll respect that and step back. The schedule is very flexible. We'll support you with breastfeeding or bottle feeding. We'll support you with sleeping, which is always a challenge the first 6 weeks. And with information like, at 6 weeks, sometimes babies are crying a little more than they were. And you've fed them, and you've changed their diaper, and you've cuddled them, and you've done everything you can to make them feel better, and they're still crying. And you're like, what am I doing? And so what we've learned is that there's a neurological development that kind of peaks about 6 weeks and then starts to head down. So guess what? It's a little normal for your baby to cry a little more at 6 weeks than before. You're doing what you're supposed to do, and it's going to go away pretty soon, we hope. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So for the program's clients, what do you see as some of the benefits and positive outcomes for people who participate in the program?
Positive outcomes are that we have 35 years of research that shows that we do, in fact, having a nurse come into your home does help provide a healthier pregnancy or a healthier outcome with your baby. Also, children are more ready for school when they start school, and they are more ready, or they do better in school once they're in school because of this program, because of your relationship.
Great.
So if we, go ahead.
Okay. So for pregnant women out there who meet the income eligibility, or to figure out whether they meet the income eligibility, or for anyone who might know a pregnant woman who might benefit from this program, how would they get in touch with you? Okay,
so you'd reach me or anybody come to Summit County Public Health, Medicaid, or even private insurance, mom's income only. You might ask your provider if they know about Nurse-Family Partnership. Come to Summit County Public Health, or there's a phone number on your screen that you can call, and we will get back to you. I shall give it to you, 970-668-9711. And my name is Lynn, and you're welcome to call me.
Great. And Summit County Public Health is located in the medical office building in Frisco, next to the hospital. Mm-hmm. All right, great. Well, thanks so much, Lynn. It was great to have you here, and it was great to hear about the Nurse-Family Partnership. And stay tuned. We'll be talking to Georgette Contos and Karina Sorensen about Early Intervention Colorado. Welcome back to County Connection, where we're focusing on ways in which Summit County government supports early childhood. In this segment, we'll be talking about Early Intervention Colorado, and I have the coordinator of the program, Georgette Contos, and Karina Sorensen, who's an occupational therapist for Early Intervention Colorado. So, Georgette, can you start off by telling us, giving us an overview of what Early Intervention Colorado is?
Sure, thank you. I brought my friend, and he'll tell you that we're the best program that no one knows anything about. So we're a federal program, and we're here, right here in Summit County in public health. And 17% of children have a developmental delay of some kind early on in life. And what we've learned is some development changes over time early, and so that's what we're here to help you with.
Okay, and so how might families come into contact with the program?
Anyone can refer. You can refer, your family, anyone, friends, caregivers, providers, and all it takes is a phone call, and even a provider may want just another eye on what's going on. And, you know, once that referral starts, within 45 days, if the child is eligible, we'll have a plan in place for you, and we'll just start services.
Okay, great. So, can you tell us a little bit about what constitutes a developmental delay, some examples of what parents might see?
Sure. You know, children play and act with each other and with others at their own pace, so we look at each child individually. But you may not be seeing your child turn his head to his name being called at 8 months, for example, or sitting up, or smiling back when smiled to, or just not playing simple games like peekaboo. A further example would be 18 months, we want to see some pretend play. We'd like to see a child pointing to objects and maybe engaging another person to look at it as well. And then saying some simple words and beginning to walk. And then at 2 years old, we like to see some 2 to 4 word phrases, and then it's the famous age of no. That's the first word everyone learns. And following simple directions, pointing to things when they're named. They should be walking, running, jumping, and throwing a ball. Some parallel play. They don't necessarily play with each other, but they play side by side. And then showing their feelings, like I'm mad, I love you, I'm happy, I'm sad.
Okay, so so if a family has questions about or is wondering about the possibility of some developmental delays, they'll come to you, and then you offer a screening, and then if there is something there that maybe needs attention, then you connect them with a provider. Is that right?
Yeah, anyone in the community who's trained to do a standardized screening tool can do that and provide us with that information. So many of the doctors in the county are trained with the Ages and Stages tool. Many of the private child care centers and child care providers are trained as well. Many home visitors are trained. Nurse Family Partnership as well, Head Start. So any of those screenings can come to us, and when the screenings show us a red flag in some area that there's something we need to look at, then the referral process starts.
Okay, great. And then can you tell us why it's so important to have these interventions early on in a child's life? So we're talking about ages 0 to 3, right?
Exactly. The program goes to 3. After 3, we look at school district. But up to age 3 are probably the most crucial years of development in a child's life. Acting early is so important. Research shows that the first 3 years are key to development and to learning in the brain and moving correctly. So the goal is to open that window of opportunity for families to help their child reach their full potential with a little boost, and then hopefully decrease the need for help later.
Okay, great. Now, so Karina, you spend time with clients in their homes, in their everyday routines, and so can you tell us a little bit about what does some of the sessions look like that you work on?
Yeah, so I'm one of the service providers as an occupational therapist. Also, we'll have physical therapists coming in, speech therapy, and early child special educators. And it's all family centered. So we like to go into the natural environment. It can be the home, it could be meeting at a playground with peers, it could be going to the rec center, and then working with the family with what's readily available for those developmental skills. It's all play-based. That's how we engage the kids. That's how we find they learn best and how they're motivated to engage with us. So I'll bring a lot of things that are familiar to the child and what the family may have in the home. And I also love getting engaged with whatever they may have available. So for example, here's a puzzle that I might work with, and it has a lot of fine motor demands, opening and closing these different locks, but also we can play peekaboo, we can work on the visual memory, see if they remember what's behind a door, also counting. So really fun, engaging play with puzzles. I'll also bring Play-Doh to do some hand strengthening things. We'll get into sensory integration and play with rice and beans, and it's just fun for the kids, and then showing how the family, the parents or the caregiver, how to interact with their child to get that early learning going.
Right, so it's not just for the child, but also helping parents learn those kinds of therapies. And
yeah, so different things may come up. Meal times may be especially challenging, and so we'll bring in messy play, and once children are able to tolerate, you know, mashed potatoes, drawing circles in it, maybe they'll be more likely to bring it to their mouth. And so it can get pretty messy. It definitely is a lot of fun and very silly, but we try to relay that to the parents and teach them how to interact with their child better to really meet those goals and have it carry over throughout the week.
Okay. So Georgette, can you tell us how successful Early Intervention Colorado is?
I would say that 70% of our children don't need us anymore by the time they turn 3, and if they do after 3 still continue to have special needs, we'll make a referral to school district, who are our partners under special education law, and look at what they need and how they need it. And so we're not about fixing or looking at what's wrong or broken. That's not how we look at children. We look at the whole child, and it's a child first, and we're careful about our language around that to make sure that we're looking at a child, and the families really our client too. So children, you know, want to have a sense of belonging, they want to be welcome, they want to be inclusive in their environments and their community. And so that's what we look at. We also have play therapy for children with social emotional needs, and we can take children who already have an established diagnosis as well and do an assessment, see what they need.
Okay, so lastly, for people who need to access your program, how do they get in touch with you?
So Georgette Cantos at 970-668-9713 at the county, and you can call 365 days a year. We're always here.
Okay, great. And you guys are located at the medical office building,
yes,
also right next to the hospital in
Frisco.
In
Frisco. Mm-hmm. All
right. Well, thanks, Georgette. Thanks, Karina.
Thank you.
And stick with us as next we talk about Summit County's foster care program with Emily Tracy. Welcome back to County Connection, where today we're focusing on programs that Summit County government offers to support infants, toddlers, and their families. For this segment, I have with me Emily Tracy, who is the coordinator of the foster care program for Summit County. Welcome, Emily.
Thanks, Julie. Great to be here.
So Emily, give us kind of the big picture view of what exactly the foster care program is.
Sure. All counties, or most counties, actually certify foster homes for temporary placement of children who are involved in a child abuse or neglect case if it's not safe for those children to be home. So different size counties have different numbers of foster homes. Sometimes they're actually certified by a child placement agency. But in Summit County's case, we currently have 2 certified foster homes that are available for emergency placement, short-term, sometimes long-term placement of children who can't safely go home.
Okay, and so how do children enter the foster care system?
Usually it can vary, but the most common way is because there's a report of abuse and neglect involving the child. If it's a serious enough report where there's really fear that the child is at risk of further harm, further danger, then the county will take temporary custody of that child through law enforcement and then place the child out of home temporarily, go to court and see if the court wants to continue that out-of-home placement. So that's generally how children come into the foster care system.
Okay. And so locally in Summit County, what's the supply of foster care homes relative to the need?
Well, I've been with Summit County for about 6 months, and certainly it's impressive to see the work that the child protection caseworkers do to keep children at home with their families of origin. There's a lot of services put in place so that kids can stay at home rather than be removed from home. But certainly we need maybe 1 or 2 more foster homes than we currently have. I mentioned that we have 2 certified homes right now.
Right.
And even though children aren't placed frequently in this county because there's such great work done to preserve families, there is that need occasionally for an emergency placement. So we are actively recruiting another home or 2 to certify in this county.
Okay. And so what kinds of homes do you need in that system?
Mm-hmm. We look at a variety. We certainly, when we approve homes, we're looking at not only the motivation, the background, and the experience with children that the foster parents have, but also looking at the home itself and making sure it meets basic safety standards. It's great if you can have several homes around the county so that if a local child is placed, they won't have to move from one elementary school to another, for example. So we look at geographic diversity, we look at diversity of families, we look at sometimes cultural issues. We like to have a nice mix of culture for those families so that the children, when they are placed, can feel a little bit more at home. Even though they're not at home, they can maybe feel a little bit more in tune with the family that they're placed with.
Okay. And then, and you're also looking for foster families or foster parents that can provide long-term care as well as short-term care, is that right?
That's correct. Often what we see are just very short-term placements. It may be an emergency, for example. We occasionally, as one example, we occasionally have cases where a family or a parent is traveling through Summit County by car, and maybe they're from another state, and we've had, even in the last several months, in one case in which a parent was stopped for a DUI and had children in the car, and there was no other adult with the family to take the children. So the person driving went to jail. We placed the children temporarily until a relative or a friend from another state could come and pick them up. So we see that need sometimes for short-term, even maybe only one night. But at the same time, with very different circumstances, we often see the need for a longer-term placement for a child.
Okay. And so for people who are interested in becoming foster parents and you know, being available for either those short-term situations or long-term situations, how do they initiate that process?
Well, a good first step is to give us a call. Call me at the Summit County Department of Social Services, and what we like to do is sit down with them maybe once or twice to start with to see how much information they already have about what foster care is and how does the system work in Colorado and in Summit County. So we have an initial conversation or 2 with them. If they want more information, we can refer them to a lot of resources about foster parenting. One example is a resource that the state put together called Change, or it's an internet website that's www.changealifeforever.com. So we can send them to these various resources, and once they feel like they know enough about the system, then they can decide if they want to apply. And then it's actually an application and assessment process that's pretty thorough, dictated by state rules and laws in terms of how they can qualify. But the first step is just talking with us at Social Services.
Okay, great. And so for folks who do become part of the foster care system, and if they have a foster child staying with them, what kind of support can they expect from Summit County?
A lot. The child's caseworker would be providing a lot of support, a lot of direct connection with the child, answering questions of the foster parent, providing them a lot of information about the child and what's happening in the child's case. And then in addition, as foster care coordinator, my primary role then is to provide direct support to the foster parents themselves, make sure that they have what they need in the way of resources and information. So they primarily have two people that are in regular contact with them, making sure that all questions they have are answered and that they have access to the resources that they need. Okay,
great. So what do you hear about the experiences of foster parents who are participating or have participated in the program?
You know, it's really a pretty neat system around the state, where there are many, many foster parents around the state of Colorado who have been doing that for years and years. I think, you know, in some places, not here I don't believe, but in some places, probably the biggest concern foster parents have is when they feel like they don't have good communication with the county or with others involved with the case. But here, I think they do feel well supported and have good communication with the county, with other service providers. So the two that we have currently have been doing it for quite some years, and we hope to recruit another family or two who will also become long-term with us.
All right, great. And I can't remember, did we mention about ages? So you can specify.
Right. We usually, because we are a small county and we never quite know what the need will be, we'll usually, if a family and a home get approved, we'll certify them to take children from age 0 to 18. But they can express a preference to us if they have a preference for a certain age range or short-term or long-term placement or both. They can express that preference, and then we try to adhere to that preference that they have.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks so much, Emily. So for those of you out there who are interested in potentially becoming foster parents, please give Emily a call at Summit County Social Services.
Great. Thanks, Julie.
Thank you, Emily. Welcome back to County Connection, where today we're focusing on programs offered by Summit County government to support infants, toddlers, and their families. And for this segment, I have joining me from Summit County Youth and Family Services, Laura Cronin and Millie Shoemaker. Welcome, guys.
Thanks.
Hi. All right, so you guys are going to talk about the Summit County Community Playgroup, which is a weekly program that Summit County offers to families. So, Laura, who can participate in this group?
This playgroup is open to anyone in the community. It is ideally birth to 3, but older siblings are more than welcome to attend, and moms and dads, grandparents. We have a full range.
Okay, and what happens at the playgroup?
A typical day, we run from 9:30 to 11:30, and we typically have free play for the first 45 minutes. We do a really informal circle time. It's not realistic to expect, 1 and 2 year olds to sit at circle time and be attentive for any length of time. So it's very voluntary, and we read stories and sing a couple songs. The kiddos who are interested sit and listen and join in, and those who want to continue playing, they do that.
Great. Yeah. And this is really, I've seen the room that you guys have set up. You pretty much have everything from soup to nuts that could entertain little ones and their parents for
Absolutely.
That time. So give us a sense of what's there. And
we've got a range of toys. We've got a play kitchen. We've got a lot of books, great craft and art materials.
Blocks.
A lot of blocks. We've got coffee for parents and grandparents, which is always a plus. And we do offer a snack.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, this is a crazily popular program, right?
It has really taken off, and rave reviews from the parents. It just is a place for them to come in a community where it's not always easy to get your little ones outside. So this provides a great space for them to run around and interact and have fun.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And how many people participate?
We can have anywhere from 10 to 30 people in the room. I never know who's coming, so
Okay, great.
yeah, it is. It's great.
So let's see, what's the cost?
There is no cost, which is the
Excellent.
best part. It is
The
totally
best
free.
things in life are free.
That's right.
And also during the summer, we meet at the park.
We do. We add a
Which-
second day,
yeah.
which again is just, if you can come, great. If it doesn't work for you, that's okay. And we've kind of got a set schedule, so parents know that on Tuesdays we'll be meeting in the Mount Royal room, and then our second day is at the playground.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And so for both the kids and the parents who participate in the play group, there are a lot of benefits. Can you talk about that?
Sure. Parents are there to support each other for sure, and that can be the pluses and the negatives of parenting, and there's plenty of both. And so it's really great that they have each other to bounce ideas off of, whether that's potty training or starting to feed solids, any range of topics. I mean, it all comes up because there is so much when, especially as a new mom or a new dad, you just have questions, and there are people with more experience, less experience, but the ideas being bounced around are all pretty fantastic.
Okay, so some solidarity there. And
Absolutely.
Some sharing of strategies.
Yeah,
and,
it's been
and
great.
stories.
Yeah.
Great.
It's also a great place for people who are new to the community to come and meet people. Lots of new families to the area are regulars because it's just a great place to connect and meet people.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Amelia, can you talk about some of the therapeutic benefits of play?
So for the kids, it's a great space because they get to socialize with other kids, and through play, kids learn how to interact with each other, and also play is a way of communication. That's how they communicate. So it is a great space for the kids to learn how to be in relationship with other kids and also with other adults. And also it's an opportunity to develop different growing experiences. So let's just give you an example. Let's say a kid, a 1-year-old, is playing with blocks. That kid is having an experience of what it feels like to play with blocks. So he's using the fine motor skills, he's using some of the intellectual skills. Then that kid needs to eventually share those blocks with other kids. So it's a great opportunity for kids to share the toys, share the space, share the adults that are in the room. So it is a great opportunity for kids and for adults to learn how to be in society.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things I saw on the webpage for the play group is that I thought was really interesting is that the United States is one of the most age-segregated societies, which
Yes.
I thought that was really interesting. And so one of the benefits of this play group is that different ages get to interact with one another. Can you guys talk about why that's important?
I think the modeling by the older kids to the younger kids is just huge. I know when I bring my own daughter to the group and she is older than some of the other children there, they are just like mesmerized by her, you know, as she's running around or walking around or reading a book. I mean, she's modeling for them different behaviors. And there are great reminders that I offer her that she is modeling. So yeah, all around, it's just kind of building off of each other.
And also for the parents, I think it's a great space to see that some kids are doing the same behaviors that their own kids. So it's a way of normalizing what's normal or what is expectable. I don't like using the word normal, but what is expectable for that age.
Right.
And even knowing and accepting that each kid has its own time and pace to do things.
Right.
So knowing that, okay, it doesn't mean that because my kid is not doing this, that my kid is behind. It's just that it just maybe didn't have the opportunity to do that, or that it's just taking longer. So it's just a way of seeing, you know, where my kid is supposed to go, and where my kid is at.
Okay, great. So kind of, especially for first-time parents, maybe.
Oh, it's great.
Dispelling a little bit of the anxieties and
Absolutely,
the wonders.
right.
And,
And as Laura said, it's a great community to talk with the different parents. You know, what was your experience like? Or what are the different resources available in the community? Like, my kid is struggling with this. How can I support my kid in this challenge?
Right.
So I think it's great. I love it. And I'm not there every Tuesday. Laura is there every Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm there once in a while.
Okay, so every Tuesday morning at the County Commons,
County
right?
Commons in the Mount Royal room. Yeah,
Okay.
from 9:30 to 11:30. We are there.
Okay. And then in the summers, where's the outdoor location?
We typically meet at the playground at the Frisco Marina.
Okay.
Because it's really geared towards younger kiddos. I definitely worry about steep slides and things like that because we do have a lot of younger kids. So that's typically where we meet.
Okay, great.
And it's kind of a central location, so people can kind of come from
all
everywhere. Yeah.
Excellent.
And meet centrally.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, so how can people learn more about Youth and Family Services and get in touch with you guys and learn more about this group in particular?
Well, one great resource is the Summit County Government website.
Okay.
And if you search by department, we're under Health and Human Services, under Youth and Family.
Great.
And the playgroup is listed there.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Mealy and
Thank you.
Laura.
Thanks for having us.
And thanks to all of you out there for checking out this episode of County Connection, where we've been focusing on early childhood and all the programs and services that Summit County government offers to support infants, toddlers, and their families. Thanks so much for watching.